public involvement, making our officials take the lead and starting with families and children. We will draw on China's fine traditional culture, keep alive and develop its vision, concepts, values, moral norms, and do so in a way that responds to the call of our era. With this, we will see that Chinese culture maintains its appeal and evolves with the times. Thirdly, raising intellectual and moral standards. When a people have ideals, their country will have strength, and their nation will have a bright future. We will help our people raise their political awareness and moral standards, foster their appreciation of fine culture, and enhance social etiquette and civility.
We will undertake extensive public awareness activities to help the people develop firm ideals and convictions, build awareness of socialism, Chinese characteristics, and Chinese dream, foster Chinese ethos and readiness to respond to the call of our times, strengthen guidance through patriotism, collectivism, and socialism, and see that the people develop an accurate understanding of history, ethnicity, country, and culture. We will launch a civic morality campaign to raise public ethical standard and enhance work ethics, family virtues, and personal integrity. We will encourage our people to strive for excellence and to develop stronger virtues, respect their elderly, love families, and be loyal to the country and the people. We will improve and strengthen our ideological and political work and launch initiatives to raise the public cultural ethnical standards. We promote the spirit of science and make scientific knowledge widely attainable. We work to see the back of our old social mores and to promote good and up-to-date practice and trends, and we will resist the corrosive influence of backward and decadent culture. We will promote credibility building, institutionalized volunteer services, and heighten people's sense of social responsibility, awareness of rules, and sense of dedication. Fourth, seeing socialist literature and art thrive. Socialist literature and art are for the people. Writers and artists should take a people-centered approach and draw inspiration from everyday life and the experiences of the people to produce work that do justice to our times. We encourage them to create fine works that are thought-provoking and of a high artistic standard that reflect real life. Next of our party, our country, our people, and our heroes will foster a democracy in academic research and artistic pursuit, and encourage originality and experimentation with new approaches in the creation of literature and art. We encourage the cultivation of fine taste, style, and sense of responsibility, and reject vulgarity and quiche in literacy and artistic creation. We strengthen the professional standard of artists and writers to see the emergence of a large number of eminent figures who have more integrity and outstanding artistic appeals and creators of inspiring work. Fifth, promote the development of cultural programs and industries. To meet the people's new aspiration for a better life, we must provide them with rich intellectual nourishment. We need to deepen structural reform of the cultural sector, improve the cultural management system, and accelerate the establishment of system and mechanism that put social benefit first while pursuing economic returns. We will improve the public cultural system, carry out public interest cultural programs, and launch more popular cultural activities. We will strengthen protection and utilization of cultural relics and better preserve and carry forward our cultural heritage. We will improve modern systems of cultural industries and markets, explore new mechanisms for cultural production and operation, improve economic policy on the development of the cultural sector, and develop new forms of business in the sector. We will carry out extensive fitness for all programs, speed up efforts to build China into a country strong on sports and make smooth preparation for the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games and Paralympic Games. We will strengthen the people-to-people and cultural exchanges with other countries, giving prominence to Chinese culture, while also drawing on our countries will improve the capacity of engaging in international communications so as to tell Chinese story well, present a true, multidimensional and paranoid view of China, and enhance our country's cultural self-power. Comrades, since its founding, the Communist Party of China has actively guided and promoted China's advanced culture while keeping China's fine traditional culture alive and strong. Today, we Chinese communists and Chinese people should and can shoulder our new cultural mission, make cultural creations through practice, and promote cultural advancement along with the progress of history. Part 8. Scoring better and ensuring and improving people's well-being and strengthening and developing new approaches to social governance. Everyone in the party must keep firmly in mind the nature of a political party and of a government is determined by those whom they serve. To lead the people to a better life is our party's abiding goal. We must put the people's interest above all else. See that the gains, reform and development benefit all of our people in a fair way, and strive to achieve shared prosperity for everyone. As we work to ensure and improve people's well-being, we must focus on the most pressing, most immediate issues that concern the people the most. We will do everything in our capacity and tackle issue by issue, year in and year out. We will see that everyone performs their duties and shares their benefits. We will see basic needs are met, prioritize key areas, improve institutions, and guide public expectations. We will improve the public service system, ensure people's basic quality of life, and keep up with the people's ever-growing need for a better life. We will continue to promote social fairness and justice, develop effective social governance, and maintain public order. With this, we should see that our people always have a strong sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security. First, giving priority to developing education. Strengthening education is fundamental to our pursuit of national rejuvenation. We must give priority to education, speed up its modernization, and develop education that people are satisfied with. We should fully implement the party's educational policy, foster virtue through education, enhance our students' well-rounded development, promote fairness in education, and nurture a new generation of capable young people who have a good and all-round moral, intellectual, physical, and ethical ground, and are well prepared to join the socialist cause. We promote the coordinated development of a compulsory education in urban and rural areas, while giving particular attention to rural areas. We improve preschool education, special needs education, and online education, make senior and secondary education universal available, and strive to see that each and every child has fair access to education. We will improve the system of vocational education and training and promote integral work between industry and education cooperation between enterprises and colleges. We will move faster to build Chinese universities into world-class universities and develop world-class disciplines as we work to bring up the full potential of higher education. We'll improve the system of financial aid to students and work to see that the vast majority of the new members of the urban and rural areas force have received senior and secondary education, and more of them receive higher education. We support the well-regulated development of private schools. We will strengthen professional ethics and competence of teachers and encourage public respect of educators and public support for education. We will improve continuing education, step up efforts to build a learning society, and promote the well-rounded development of all our people. Second, improving the quality of employment and raising incomes. Employment is pivotal to people's well-being. We must give high priorities to employment and pursue a proactive employment policy, striving to achieve fuller employment and create better quality jobs. We'll launch vocational skill training and programs on a base scale, give particular attention to tackling structural employment, and create more jobs by encouraging business startups. We will provide extensive public employment services to open up more channels for college graduates and other young people, as well as migrant workers, find jobs and start their own businesses. We must remove institutional barriers that block the social mobility of labor and talent and ensure that every one of our people has the chance to pursue careers through hard work. We will improve mechanisms for joint discussions and mediation involving government, trade, unions, and employers in an effort to ensure harmonious labor relations. We continue to follow the principle of distribution according to one's work while improving our institution and mechanism for distribution based on features of productions so as to make income distribution fairer and more early. We will encourage people to make their money through hard work and legal means. We expand the size of middle-income group, increase income people who live on low incomes and adjust excessive incomes and prohibit illicit incomes. We work to see that individual incomes grow in step with the economic development and pay rises in tandem with the increase of labor productivity. We expand the channels for people to make work-based earnings and property income. We will see that the government plays the function of adjusting redistribution move faster to ensure equitable access to basic public services and narrow gaps in incomes. Third, strengthening the social security system. We will act on a policy requirement to help those most in need to build a tightly woven safety net and to build necessary institutions to work to develop a sustainable multi-tiered social security system that covers the entire population in both urban and rural areas. We clearly define rights and responsibility and support that hits the right level. We work to see that everyone has access to Social Security. We improve the basic pension scheme for urban employees and for rural and non-working urban residents and quickly bring pension scheme under national unified management. We will improve the unified system for basic medical insurance and serious disease insurance for rural and non-working urban residents, and improve the unemployment insurance and work-related injury insurance. We will establish a unified national platform for social security public services. We will promote the coordinated development of the social assistance system for urban and rural residents and improve the subsistence allowances system. We must adhere to the fundamental national policy of gender equality, protect the legitimate rights and interests of women and minors. We improve our systems for social assistance, social welfare, charity, and entitled group benefits and services. We will improve the system for supporting and caring for children, women, and elderly left behind in rural areas. We will develop the programs for people with disabilities and work to provide better rehabilitation services for them. We must not forget that housing is for living, not for speculation. With this in mind, we will move faster to put in place a housing system that ensures supply through multiple resources, provide housing support through multiple channels, and encourage both housing purchasing and renting. This will make us a better place to meet the housing need of all of our people. Fourth, winning the battle against poverty. Seeing that the poor people and the poor areas were entering the moderately prosperous society together with the rest of the country is the solemn promise made by our party. We should mobilize the energies of our whole party, the whole country, and the whole society, and continue to implement targeted poverty reduction and alleviation measures. We will operate on the basis of the working mechanism whereby the central government makes over our plans, provincial level government takes over our responsibility, and city and county governments ensure implementation, and will strengthen the system for making heads of party committees and government at each level assume the overall responsibility for poverty alleviation. We will continue to advance poverty reduction, draw on the joint efforts of government, society, and the markets. We will pay particular attention to helping people increase confidence in our own capability to lift themselves out of poverty and see that they can access education they need to do so. We will strengthen collaboration on poverty alleviation between eastern and western regions, and we will provide focused assistance to areas of extreme poverty. We must ensure that by the year 2020, the rural residents living below the current poverty line will have been out of poverty, and poverty is eliminated in all poor counties and regions. Poverty alleviation should reach those who truly need it and deliver genuine outcomes. Fifth, carrying out the Healthy China initiative. A healthy population is the key mark of prosperous nation and strong country. We will improve the national health policy and ensure the delivery of comprehensive life cycle health services for our people. We will deepen reform of the medical and healthcare system, establish distinctive Chinese systems for providing basic health care, medical insurance, and quality and efficient healthcare services, and develop a sound, modern hospital management system. We improve the community-level healthcare services and strengthen the rank of GPs. We will put an end to the practice of hospital funding their operations with profits from overpriced drugs, and improve the system for medicine supply. We will, with emphasis on prevention, carry out extensive patriotic health campaigns, promote healthy and positive lifestyles, and prevent and control major diseases. We will initiate a full safety strategy to ensure that people have peace of mind about what they're putting on their plates. We will support both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine, and ensure that preservation and development of traditional Chinese medicine will support development of a private hospital and health-related industries.
We will work to ensure that our childbirth policy meshes with related economic and social policies, and carry out research on population strategy. As we respond proactively to population aging, we will adopt policies and foster a social environment in which senior citizens are respected, cared for, and live happily in their later years. We will integrate elderly care and medical services and accelerate the development of old age programs. Sixth, establishing a social governance model based on collaboration, participation, and common interests. We will step up institution building in social governance and improve the law-based social governance model under which party committees exercise leadership, government assumes responsibility, and non-governmental actors provide assistance, and the public get involved. We will strengthen public participation, the rule of law in social governance, and make such governance smarter and more specialized. We will improve mechanisms for preventing and diffusing social tensions and properly handle problems among the people. We will promote safe development and raise public awareness that life matters most and safety comes first. We will improve the public safety system and responsibility system for workplace safety. We will take resolute measures to prevent serious accidents and build up our capacity for disaster prevention, mitigation, and relief. We will accelerate development of crime prevention and control, combat and punish, according to the law, all legal and criminal activities, such as pornography, gambling, drug abuse, gun violence, kidnapping and fraud, and protect people's personal rights, property rights, and right to dignity. We will improve the system of public psychological services and cultivate self-esteem, self-confidence, rationality, composure, and optimism among our people. We will strengthen a system for community governance, shift the focus of social governance to the community level, leverage the role of social organizations, and see that government's governance efforts on the one hand and society's self-regulation and residents' self-governance on the other reinforce each other. Seventh, effectively safeguarding national security. National security is the cornerstone of peace and stability of our country, and safeguarding it is in the fundamental interests of Chinese people of all ethnic groups. We will improve our national security strategy and policy, guarantee China's political security, and take coordinated steps to ensure security in all areas. We will improve our national security system, strengthen rule of law measures to enhance national security, and enhance our capacity for forestalling and fending off security risks. We must rigorously protect against and take resolute measures to combat all acts of infiltration, subversion, and sabotage, as well as violent terrorist activities, ethnic separatist activities, and religious extremist activities. We will raise awareness of national security among all party members and all the people, and create a strong synergy of the whole society to safeguard national security. Comrades, meeting the fundamental interests of all our people is the ultimate yardstick for judging all work of our party. The issues of concern to the people, be they big or small, should be handled with utmost care and attention. We will start with addressing issues of public concern, start with delivering the outcomes that satisfy public needs, and work without rest to lead our people in pursuing a better life. Part 9. Speeding up reform of the system for developing an ecological civilization and building a beautiful China. Man and nature form a community of life. We, as human beings, must respect nature, follow its ways, and protect it. Only by observing the laws of nature can mankind avoid costly blunders in its exploitation. Any harm we inflict on nature will eventually return to haunt us. This is the reality we have to face. The modernization that we pursue is one characterized by harmonious coexistence between man and nature. In addition to creating more material and cultural wealth to meet people's ever-increasing needs for a better life, we need also to provide more quality ecological goods to meet people's ever-growing demands for a beautiful environment. We should, acting on the principles of prioritizing resource conservation and environmental protection and letting nature restore itself, develop spatial layouts, industrial structures, and ways of work and life that help conserve resources and protect the environment. With this, we can restore the serenity, harmony, and beauty of nature. Firstly, promoting green development. We will step up efforts to establish a legal and policy framework that promotes green production and consumption, and promote a sound economic structure that facilitates green, low-carbon, and circular development. We will create a market-based system for green technology innovation, develop green finance, and spur the development of energy-saving and environmental protection industries, as well as clean production and clean energy industries. We will promote a revolution in energy production and consumption, and build an energy sector that is clean, low-carbon, safe, and efficient. We will encourage conservation across the board and promote recycling, take action to get everyone everyone conserving water, cut consumption of energy and materials, and establish linkages between the circular use of resources and materials in industrial production and in everyday life. We encourage simple, moderate, green, and low-carbon ways of life and oppose extravagance and excessive consumption. We will launch initiatives to make party and government offices together when it comes to conservation and develop eco-friendly families, schools, communities, and transport services. Secondly, solving prominent environmental problems. We will get everyone involved in improving the environment and address environmental issues at the root. We will continue our campaign to prevent and control air pollution to make our skies blue again. We will speed up prevention and control of water pollution and take measures to improve river basins and offshore areas. We will strengthen the control of soil pollution and the restoration of polluted soil, intensify the prevention of agricultural pollution from non-point sources, and take measures to improve rural living environments. We will improve the treatment of solid waste and garbage and reinforce stricter pollutants discharge standards and see to it that polluters are held accountable. And we will improve the credibility system, assessment system, and we will establish an environmental governance system in which government takes the lead, enterprises assume main responsibility, and social organizations and the public also participate. And we will get actively involved in global environmental governance and fulfill our commitments on emission reduction. Thirdly, intensifying the protection of ecosystems. We will carry out major projects to protect and restore key ecosystems, improve the system of shields for ecological security, and develop ecological corridors and biodiversity protection networks, so as to strengthen the quality and stability of our ecosystems. We will complete work on drawing red lines for protecting the ecosystems, designating permanent basic cropland and delineating boundaries for urban development. We will promote afforestation, take comprehensive measures to control desertification, stony deserts, and soil erosion, strengthen wetland conservation and restoration, and better prevent and control geological disasters. We will improve the system for protecting natural forests and turn more marginal farmland to forests and grasslands. We will rigorously protect farmland and expand trials in crop rotation and keep land fallow. We will improve systems for regeneration of croplands, grasslands, forests, rivers, and lakes, and set up diversified market mechanisms for ecological compensation. Fourthly, reforming the environmental regulation system. We will strengthen overall planning, organization, and leadership for building an ecological civilization. We will establish regulatory agencies to manage state-owned natural resource assets and monitor natural ecosystems and improve environmental management systems. These agencies will, in a unified way, perform the duties of the owner of public-owned natural resource assets, the duties of regulating the use of all territorial space and protecting and restoring ecosystems, and the duties of monitoring the discharge of all pollutants in urban and rural areas and conducting administrative law enforcement. We will establish systems for developing and protecting territorial space, improve supporting policies on functional zones, and develop a nature reserve system composed mainly of national parks. We will take tough steps to stop and punish all activities that damage the environment. Comrades, what we are doing today to build an ecological civilization will benefit generations to come. We should have a strong commitment to socialist ecological civilization and work to develop a new model of modernization with humans developing in harmony with nature. We must do our generation's share to protect the environment. Part 10. Staying committed to the Chinese path of building strong armed forces and fully advancing the modernization of national defense and military. We have reached a new historical starting point in strengthening national defense and the armed forces. Confronted with profound changes in our national security environment and responding to the demands of the day for a strong country with a strong military, we must fully implement the party's thinking on strengthening the military for the new era and adapt military strategy to new conditions. We must build a powerful and modernized army, navy, air force, rocket force, and strategic support force. Develop strong and efficient joint operations commanding institutions for commands and create a modern combat system with distinctive Chinese characteristics. Our armed forces must be up to shouldering the missions and tasks of the new era. We will adapt to the trend of a new global military revolution and to national security needs. We will upgrade our military capacities and see that by the year 2020, mechanization is basically achieved. IT application has come a long way, and strategic capabilities have seen a big improvement. In step with our country's modernization process, we will modernize our military across the board in terms of theory, organizational structure, service personnel, and weaponry. We will make it our mission to see that by 2035, the modernization of our national defense and our forces is basically completed, and that by the mid-21st century, our people's armed forces have been fully transformed into world-class forces. We will strengthen party building in the military. We will launch activities with the theme of passing on the traditions of revolution, stepping up to the task of making the military strong. We will move forward with the development of the military honor system. We will train the revolutionary officers and soldiers of a new era with faith, ability, courage, and integrity, and see that our forces forever preserve their nature, purpose, and character.
We will continue to deepen national defense and military reform and further the reform of major policy systems, including career officer system and system of housing civilian personnel in the military. We will push ahead with transformation of military management and improve the development of distinctive Chinese socialist military institutions. We must keep it firm on our hands. Technology is the core combat capability. Encourage innovation in major technologies and conduct innovation independently. We will strengthen the system for training military personnel and make our people's forces more innovative. We will govern the military with strict disciplines in every respect, push for a fundamental transformation in the way military is run. A military is built to fight. Our military must regard combat capability as the criteria to meet in all its work and focus on how to win when it is called on. We should take solid steps to ensure military preparedness for all strategic directions and make progress in combat readiness in both traditional and new security fields. We will develop new combat forces and support forces, conduct military training under combat conditions, strengthen the application of military strength, speed up development of intelligent military, and improve combat capabilities for joint operations based on network information system and the ability to fight under multi-dimensional conditions. This will enable us to effectively shape our military posture, manage crisis, and deter new wars. We should ensure that efforts to make our country prosperous and efforts to make our military strong go hand in hand. We will strengthen unified leadership, top-level design, reforms, and innovation. We speed up implementation of major projects, deepen reform in defense-related science, technology, and in industry, achieve greater military-civilian integration, and build integrated national strategies and strategic capabilities. We will improve our national defense mobilization system, build a strong, well-structured, modern border defense, coastal defense, and air defense. We establish an administration for veterans, and will protect the legitimate rights and interests of military personnel and their families. We make military service an occupation that enjoys public respect. We carry out further reforms and build modernized armed police force. Comrades, our military is the people's military, and our national defense the responsibility of every one of us. We must raise public awareness about the importance of national defense and strengthen unity between the government and the military, between the people and the military. Let's work together to create a mighty force for realizing the Chinese dream. Part 11. Upholding one country, two systems, and moving towards national reunification. Since Hong Kong and Macau's return to the motherland, the practice of one country, two systems in both regions have been a resounding success. The policy of one country, two systems have proved to be the best solution to the question of Hong Kong and Macau, left by history, and the best institutional guarantee for the long-term prosperity and stability for Hong Kong and Macau after the return. To maintain long-term prosperity and stability in Hong Kong and Macau, it is imperative to fully and faithfully implement the policy of one country, two systems. The people of Hong Kong govern Hong Kong, the people of Macau governing Macau, and a high degree of autonomy for both regions. It is imperative to act in strict compliance with China's constitutions and basic laws of the two special administrative regions, and to improve the system mechanism to enforce the basic laws. We will continue to support the government and chief executives of both regions in pursuing the following endeavors: exercising law-based governance, uniting and leading the people of all sectors of active, concerned effort to promote development and harmony, enjoying and empowering people's well-being, taking well-ordered steps to advance democracy, maintaining law and order, to fulfilling the constitutional responsibility of safeguarding China's sovereignty, security, and development interests. The development of Hong Kong and Macau is closely tied up with that of the mainland. We will continue to support Hong Kong and Macau in integrating their own development into the overall development of the country. We give priority to the development of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area, cooperation between Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau, and regional cooperation in the Pamperal River Delta, thus fully advancing mutually beneficial cooperation between mainland and two regions. We will formulate and improve policies and measures to make it more convenient for people from Hong Kong and Macau to develop careers on the mainland. We will remain committed to the policy of Hong Kong people to govern Hong Kong, Macau people to govern Macau, with patriots playing the principal role. We will develop and strengthen the ranks of patriots who love both our country and our regions, and foster greater patriotism and stronger sense of national identities among people in Hong Kong and Macau. With this, our compatriots in Hong Kong and Macau will share both the history of national rejuvenation and the pride of a strong and prosperous China. Resolving the Taiwan question to realize China's complete reunification is the shared aspiration of all Chinese people, and is in the fundamental interest of the Chinese nation. We must uphold the principle of peaceful reunification and one country, two systems, work for the peaceful development of cross-strait relations, and advance the progress towards the peaceful reunification of China. The One China principle is the political foundation of the cross-strait relations. The 1992 consensus embodies the One China principle and defines the fundamental nature of cross-strait relations. It thus holds the key to the peaceful development of relations between the two sides of the Taiwan Straits, recognize the historical fact of the 1992 consensus in that the two sides both belong to one China, and our two sides can conduct dialogues to address through discussions the concerns people of both sides. And no political party or group in Taiwan will have any difficulty conducting exchanges with the mainland. Blood is thicker than water. People on both sides of the Taiwan Strait are brothers and sisters. We share the bond of kinship, guided by the conviction that we are all the same family, respect the current social system and way of life in Taiwan, and ready to share the development opportunities on the mainland with our Taiwan compatriots first. We'll expand cross-strait economic cultural exchanges and cooperations for mutual benefit. We will ensure that over time, people from Taiwan will enjoy the same treatment as local people when they pursue their studies, start business, seek jobs, and live on the mainland. Thus, improving the well-being of Taiwan compatriots, we will encourage people from both sides to work together to promote Chinese culture and forge closer bonds between them.
我们坚决维护国家主权和领土完整。
We stand firm in safeguarding China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and will never allow the historical tragedy of national division to repeat itself. Any separatist activity is certain to meet with the resolute opposition of the Chinese people.
我们有坚定的意志。
We have the resolve, the confidence, and the ability to defeat separatist attempts for Taiwan independence in any form. We will never allow anyone, any organization, or any political party at any time or in any form to separate any part of Chinese territory from China. Comrades, realizing the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation is a dream shared by all of us as Chinese. We remain firm in our conviction that as long as all the sons and daughters of Chinese nations, including our compatriots in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, follow the tide of history, work together for the greater nation interest, and keep our nation destiny firm in our own hands, we will without doubt be able to achieve the greater rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Part 12. Following a path of peaceful development and working to build a community with a shared future of mankind. The CPC strives for both well-being of the Chinese people and human progress. To make new and greater contribution for mankind is our party's abiding mission. China will continue to hold high the banner of peace, development, cooperation, mutual benefit, and hold its fundamental foreign policy goal of preserving world peace and strengthening friendship and cooperation with other countries on the basis of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, and to forging a new form of international relations featuring mutual respect, fairness, justice, and win-win cooperation. The world is undergoing major development, transformation, and adjustment, but peace and development remain the call of our day. The trend of global multipolarity, economic globalization, idea application, and cultural diversity are surging forward. Changes in the global governance system and international orders are speeding up. Countries have become increasingly interconnected and interdependent. Relative international forces have become more and more balanced. And peace and development remain irreversible trends. And yet, as the world we face growing uncertainties and destabilization factors. Global economic growth lacks energy. The gap between rich and poor continues to widen. Hotspots issues arise often in some regions, and unconventional security threats like terrorism, cyber insecurity, major infectious disease, and climate change continue to spread. As human beings, we have many common challenges to face. Our world is full of both hope and challenges.
我们不能因见识复杂而放弃梦
We
想，
should not give up our dreams because reality around us is too complicated.
放弃追
We
求。
should not stop pursuing our ideals because they seem out of reach.
应对
No country
人类面
can alone
各种挑
address the
战，
many challenges
也没有
facing
哪个国家
mankind, and no
能够退回
country
到
can
自我
afford
封
to
闭的
retreat into self-isolation.
我们呼吁各国人民
We
同
call
心
on
协力，
the people of all nations to work together to build a community with the shared future of
普
mankind,
遍安
to
全，
build
共
an
同繁荣，
open,
开
inclusive,
放包容，
clean, and beautiful world
清
enjoys
洁美的世界。
lasting peace, universal
相互
security,
尊重，
and
平
common
等协商，
prosperity.
坚
We
决
should
摒
respect
弃
each other,
冷
sex
战
issues
思
as
维
equals,
和强
resolutely
权
reject the Cold War mentality
走对话
and
而
power
对抗，
politics,
结
and
伴
takes
而
a
结
new
盟的
approach to
无以
develop state-to-state relations,
交心。
communication, not confrontation,
要坚
partnership,
持以对
not
话解
alliance.
决争端，
We should commit in settling
协商化
dispute
解
through dialogues and resolving
应对
differences with
传统和
discussion,
非传统
coordinate responses to traditional
反对
and
一切
non-traditional
形式的
threats, and oppose terrorism of
要同舟
all
共
its
济，
forms.
促进贸易和投
We
资
should，stick together
自由
through
化
thick and
便利
thin,
化，
promote
推动
trade and
经济
investment
全球化，
globalization and
更加开
facilitation,
放
and
包
make
容
economic
互惠平衡
globalization
共
more
同发展
open, inclusive, and balanced so
要
that
尊
benefits are
世
shared
界
by
文
all.
明多样性，
We should respect the
以文明交
diversity
流
of
超越文
civilizations
明隔阂，文明互鉴
and
超越
healthy relations among civilizations. Let's replace estrangement with exchange, clashes for mutual learning, and superiority with coexistence. We should be good friends to the environment, cooperate to tackle climate change, and protect our planet for the sake
中国
of
坚
human
定奉
survival.
行
China
独立
remains
自主
firm
和
in
平外交
pursuing
政
an
策，
independent foreign policy
尊
peace.
重各国人民
We
自主选
respect
择
the
发
right
展
of
道路的
people
权
of
利，
all countries to
维
choose
护
their
国
own
际
development
公平
paths.
正义，
We endeavor
反对
to
把自己
uphold
的意志
international
强
fairness
加
and
于人，
justice and
反
oppose
对
acts that
干涉别国
impose
内
one's
政，
wills on
反
others
对
or
影响别人。
interfere in international
中国
affairs
绝
of
不会
others,
牺
as well
牲
as
别国
the
利益为代
practical
价来发展
of
自己，
strong bullying the
也
weak.
绝不
China
放
will
弃
never
自己
pursue
的
development
正
at
当权
expense
益。
of others'
任何人
interests,
不要幻
but
想
nor
让
will China
中国
ever
吞
give up
下
its
所
legitimate
看自
rights
身
and
利益的
interests.
苦果。
No one should expect China to
中国
swallow
奉行
anything that
防御
undermines
性
its
的
interest.
国防
China
政策，
pursues a national defense policy that
中国
is
发展
nature
对任
defensive.
何国家
China's
构成
development
威
does
胁。
not pose threat to any
中
other
国无论
country.
发展到什么
No
程
matter
度，
what stage of development it
永远
reaches,
不称霸，
China will never seek
永远
hegemony
不搞扩张。
or engage in expansion.
中国积极发
China
展
has
全
actively
球
developed
伙伴
global
关系，
partnerships
快
and
乐
expanded
各国
the
的利益交汇，
convergence of interests with
推
the
进
other
大陆协
countries.
调
China
和
will
合
promote
作，
coordination and
构建
cooperation
经济
with
稳
other
定，
major countries
均衡发展
and work to
大
build
国
a
关系
framework
框
for
架。
major country relations
按照
featuring
亲诚
overall
互动理念
stability
和
and balanced
邻为善，
development.
邻为
China
伴，
will
中
deepen
国外交
relation
方
with
针
its neighbors
深
in
化同
accordance
周
with the
边国
principle
家
of
关系，
amity, sincerity, and
秉持
mutual
政治
benefit,
义
and
利观
inclusiveness,
和
and the
真
policy
实
of
真
forging
诚理
friendship
念，
and
加
partnership
强
with
同
its
发展
neighbors.
国家团
China
结合
will,
作，
guided by the
加
principle
强
of
同各
justice
国
while
政
pursuing
法、
shared
政
interests
治
and the
组织
principle of sincerity,
推
honesty,
进人
affinity,
大
and good
政
faith,
协
work to
应
strengthen
对
solidarity
地
and
方
cooperation
人
with
民
the
团
other
结本
developing
的
nations,
对外
and
交
we
往。
will strengthen exchanges with the
中
political
国
parties
坚
and
持对外开放
organizations
的
of
基
the
本
other
国策，
countries, and encourage
坚
people's
持打开
congresses,
国门搞建
CPPCC
设，
committees, the military,
积
local
极促
governments to
进
engage in
“一带一路”
exchanges.
国际合作，
China adheres to
努
the
力实
national
现
policy of
政
opening
策
up
沟
and
通、设
pursues
施联
the
通、贸易
development
畅
with its
通、
doors open.
资本
China
流
will
通、
actively promote
民心
international
相通，
cooperation
打造
through
国际
Belt
合
and
作
Road
新
Initiative
平台，
and
增
achieve
添
policy
共发展的
infrastructure,
新
trade,
动力，
financial, people-to-people
加大
connectivity,
对
and
发
that
展
build
中
a
国
new
家，特别是
platform
最
for
不发达国
cooperation
家
to
援
create
助
new
力度，
drivers of
促
shared
进缩小
development.
南北发展
China
差
will
距，
increase assistance to the other
中国支
developing
持
nations,
多边贸易体
particularly
制，
the least developed countries,
促进
and
自由贸易区
reduce the
建设，
North-South development
推进
gap.
建设
China
开
will
放型
support
世界经济。
multilateral trade regimes and
中国秉
facilitate
持
the
共商共
establishment
济
of
共享的全球
FTAs
世界
and
观，
build an open world
倡导
economy.
国际关
China
系
follows
民
the
主化，
principle of achieving
坚持
shared
国家
growth
不
through
分大小、
discussion and
强弱、
collaboration.
贫
China
富，
stands for
一律平
democracy
等，
in international
致联合
relations
国发
and
挥
the
积极
equality
作
of
用，
all countries,
支
big
持
or
扩大
small,
发展
strong or
中国
weak,
家在
rich or
国际
poor.
事务中的
China
代表
supports
性
the
和发
UN
言
in playing an active role in international affairs and supports the other developing countries to increase their representation and voice. China will continue to play its part as a major country to take an active part in reforming and developing the global governance system. Comrades, The future of the world rests in the hands of people of all countries. The future of mankind hinges on the choices they make. We, the Chinese, are ready to work with the people of all other countries to build a community with a shared future for mankind and create a bright tomorrow for all of us. Part 13. Exercising strict governance over the party and improving the party's ability to govern and lead. As socialism with Chinese characteristics has entered a new era, our party must get a new look and make new accomplishments. As the saying goes, it takes a good blacksmith to make good steel. For the party to unite the people and lead them in carrying out our great struggle, advancing our great cause, and realizing our great dream, we must unwaveringly uphold and improve party leadership, and unwaveringly make the party still stronger. Ensuring party self-governance is exercised fully and strictly is a journey to which there is no end. The future of a political party or a government is determined by whether it enjoys public support. We must guard against and correct with resolve the practices the people oppose and resent. The whole party must be soberly aware that the governance environment our party faces is complex, and that so too are the factors undermining the party's advanced nature and purity. Prominent problems of impurity in thinking, organization, and conduct in the party have not been resolved to the root. We must fully recognize the long-term and complex nature of the tests confronting the party as they relate to governance, reform and opening up, the market economy, and the external environment. We must also fully recognize the intensity and severity of the dangers of lack of drive, incompetence, disengagement from the people, inaction, and corruption. So, we must focus on solving problems, maintain strategic resolve, and ensure strict party self-governance. The general requirements for party building for the new era are as follows: uphold and strengthen overall party leadership, and ensure that the party exercises effective self-supervision and practices strict self-governance in every respect. Take strengthening the party's long-term governance capacity and its advanced nature and purity as the main thrust. Take enhancing the party's political building as the overarching principle. Take holding dear the party's ideals, convictions, and purpose as the underpinning. And take harnessing the whole party's enthusiasm, initiative, and creativity as the focus of efforts. Make all-round efforts to see the party's political building enhanced, its theory strengthened, its organizations consolidated, its conduct improved, and its discipline forced, with institution building incorporated into every aspect of party building. We must step up our efforts to combat corruption and continue to improve the efficacy of party building, and build the party into a vibrant Marxist-governed party that is always at the forefront of the times, enjoys the wholehearted support of the people, has the courage to reform itself, and able to withstand all tests. Firstly, putting political party building first. Taking a clear political stand is the fundamental requirement our party must meet as a Marxist party. Political party building is of fundamental importance to the party as it determines the direction and efficacy of party building. The primary task of political party building is to ensure that the whole party obeys the Central Committee and upholds its authority and centralized unified leadership. All party members must closely follow the party's political line, strictly observe its political discipline and rules, and closely ally themselves with the Central Committee in terms of political stance, direction, principle, and path. Every member of the party must hold the party constitution in great reverence, act in strict accordance with the code of conduct for inter-party political life under new circumstances, and make inter-party activities more politically oriented, up-to-date, principled, and effective. We must guard against the rules of business dealings eroding inter-party conduct, and foster a healthy political atmosphere of integrity within the party. We must improve and implement the systems of democratic centralism and practice both democracy-based centralism and centralism-guided democracy. This means we should both give full play to democracy and practice centralism on this basis. We must foster values like loyalty, honesty, impartiality, a realistic approach, and integrity. Guard against and oppose self-centered behavior, decentralism, behavior in disregard of the rules, a silo mentality, unprincipled nihilism, and sectarianism, factionism, and patronage. We must resolutely oppose double-dealing and duplicity. All party members, especially high-ranking officials, must strengthen their party consciousness, political awareness, and political ability. We must regard it as our fundamental political responsibility to be loyal to the party, share the party's concerns, fulfill our obligations to the party, and work for the people's well-being, and forever preserve political character. Second, arming the whole party with the thought on socialism's Chinese characteristics for a new era. Theory is fundamental to party building. Our revolutionary ideals soar beyond the skies. The noble ideal of communism and the shared ideal of socialism with Chinese characteristics are our source of strength and political soul as Chinese communists. They also form the theoretical foundation of party solidarity and unity. Our top priority in building the party through theory is to stay true to our ideals and convictions. We should make all party members keep firmly in mind the party's purpose, have unwavering convictions as communists, resolve the fundamental issue of the worldview, outlook on life, and values we should embrace, and maintain deep belief in and faithfully practice communism and socialism with Chinese characteristics. We will foster a Marxist-style learning and make it regular practice and institutionalized requirement for all party members to gain a good amount of the party constitution, party regulations, and major policy addresses to meet party standards. We must launch a campaign on the theme of staying true to our founding mission to enable all party members, especially officials at and above county and director level, to arm themselves with the party's new theories and become more purposeful in working tirelessly to accomplish our mission. Thirdly, training a contingent of competent and professional officials. Party officials are an essential pillar of strength for the cause of our party and country. We must adhere to the principle of the party supervising officials, select officials on the basis of both integrity and ability, with priority given to integrity and on the basis of merit regardless of background, and ensure that those who are dedicated, impartial, and upright should be appointed. We must implement in earnest the criteria for evaluating good officials. In selecting officials, we must adopt the right approach with emphasis on political performance. We will promote and put in important positions those party officials who do well according to the following criteria. They maintain political integrity, think in terms of the big picture, follow the leadership board, and keep in alignment with the central party leadership, and have confidence in the path, theory, system, culture of socialism. They uphold the authority of central committee and physically follow the party's theories and principles. And they are loyal to the party, have moral integrity, and demonstrate a keen sense of responsibility. We will take seriously the development of specialized expertise and professionalism, enhance the official's ability to meet requirements of developing socialism. We will identify promising young officials and get them well prepared for future jobs. We will focus on the practical training in local communities, in work on the front line, and in areas where conditions are harsh, and work to produce a constant stream of outstanding young officials who have passed the test of practice. We will ensure coordinated training and selection of female officials, officials from ethnic minorities, and non-party officials. We will ensure that retired officials are well taken care of. We will be both strict and caring, and place equal emphasis on providing incentives and imposing constraints. We will improve the performance assessment system for officials, institute incentive mechanisms to allow for errors, and take a clear stand in supporting officials who are willing to assume responsibilities, who take a down-to-earth approach, and who do not seek personal gain. Party organizations at every level should care about officials working at the primary level and solve the problems for them. People with talent are a strategic resource for China as it endeavors to achieve national rejuvenation and stay ahead in international competition. We must follow the principle of the party exercising leadership over personnel, assemble the best minds across the land, and draw fully on their expertise to make China a talent-strong country. We will pursue more proactive, open, and effective policy on training content professionals. We shall value people's talent, identify talent, and have the foresight to employ them, be earnest to keep them, and welcome them into our ranks. This will enable us to attract bright people from both within and outside the party, from both within and outside China, in pursuing the great endeavor of the party and the people. We encourage people with talent to work in remote and poor areas, border areas, with mainly ethnic minority population and old revolutionary-based areas, as well as in the front lines and communities. We will foster an environment in which everyone wants, strives, and is able to excel themselves and can do full justice to their talents. We aim to see that in every field, the creativity is given great expression. Fourthly, strengthening primary-level party organizations. Primary-level party organizations do the groundwork to ensure the party's lines, principles, policies, decisions, and plans are implemented. We will work to ensure that primary-level party organizations in enterprises, villages, party and government departments, school, research institutes, sub-district, communities, and social organizations play a key role in communicating the party's propositions and carrying out the party's decisions, overseeing community-level social governance, uniting and mobilizing people, promoting reform and development. In doing so, we will focus on improving the organizational capacity of primary-level party organizations and give priority to enhancing their political functions. We must directly guide, manage, oversee the members, and organize, communicate with, unite, and serve them. They should encourage the members to play an exemplary role.
We must practice a system of holding party branch general meetings, meeting of party branch committees, party group meetings, and party lectures. We develop new ways of setting up primary level party organizations for them to carry out their activities, strengthen the training of their heads, expand their reach. We must work harder to address the problem that some primary level organizations are weak, ineffective, and marginalized. We expand inter-party democracy at the primary level, make party affairs more transparent, ensure channels are open for party members to participate in party affairs, oversees party organizations officials, and submit opinions and suggestions to the party organizations at next level. We will do more to recruit new party members from among industry workers, young people working in agriculture, or educated group, and people working in non-public economic entities and social organizations. We will give more incentives, solicitude, and assistance to party members. We will make guidance and management of party members better targeted and more effective, and handle party members that don't meet the mark in a prudent and orderly way. Fifth, working ceaselessly to improve party conduct and enforce party discipline. Our party comes from people and has roots among the people, and is dedicated to serving the people. Once the party becomes disengaged from the people, it will lose its vitality. In improving party conduct, we must focus on maintaining the party's close bond with the people, keeping them firmly in mind, develop a closer affinity with them, and keep working to foster strong public support for the party's governance. We must earnestly address all issues people are strongly concerned about, and resolutely correct any behaviors that undermines the people's interests. Our party officials should lead by example in consolidating and building on the advances made in implementing the Central Party leadership's 8-point decisions on improving parties and government conduct. We should continue to address the practice of formalities for formality's sake, bureaucratism, hedonism, and extravagance, and oppose mindset and act of privilege seeking. We'll focus on strengthening enforcement, political and organization discipline, and use this to promote stricter observance of discipline on upholding integrity, on interacting with the people, and regarding work and life. We'll continue to carry out criticism and self-criticism in keeping with the principle learning from mistakes, prevent recurrence in treating the illness to save the patients. We'll conduct 4 forms of oversight over discipline compliance, identifying problems early and correct them while they are nonsense. Party organizations with the power to supervise officials were given corresponding power to take disciplinary actions and called for, and accountability for overseeing the discipline compliance with the guiding upon. We will raise party members' awareness of discipline, strengthen discipline enforcement, and demand that party members and officials hold disciplines in awe and respect, do not cross the line. 6. Securing a sweeping victory in the fight against corruption. The people resent corruption most, and corruption is the greatest threat our party faces. We must have the resolve and tenacity to preserve in the never-ending fight against corruption only by intensifying efforts to address both the symptom and root cause of corruption, and making sure that officials are honest, government is clean, and political affairs are handled with integrity. Can we avoid history's circle of rise and fall, ensure the long-term stability of the party and the country? Currently, the fight against corruption remain grave and complex. We must remain as firm as a rock in our resolve to build on the overwhelming momentum and secure a sweeping victory. We will continue to see that there are no no-go zones, no ground is left unturned, and no tolerance is shown for corruption. We will impose tight constraints, maintain tough stance, and long-term deterrence. punish those who take bribes and those who offer them, and prevent interest groups from arising within the party. We will institute a system of disciplinary inspection for city and county level and party committees in an intensified effort to address corruption and occur on people's doorsteps. Wherever offenders may flee, they will be brought back and brought to justice. We will work for the adoption of national anti-corruption legislation and create a corruption reporting platform that covers both disciplinary inspection commission and supervision agency. We will strengthen deterrence so officials daren't be corrupt, strengthen the cage of institutions so they are unable to be corrupt, and strengthen their vigilance so that they have no desire to commit corruption. Our political environment will, like a sea, fallen calm and river runs clear, be pure and free of corruption. 7. Improving party and state oversight systems. To improve the party's ability to purify itself, it is essential that we strengthen party self-supervision and separate ourselves to public oversight. We must strengthen checks on oversight over the exercise of power and ensure that power is exercised under public oversight in broad daylight and an institutional cage. We will strengthen top-down organizational oversight, improve bottom-up democratic oversight, and practice peer oversight, and tighten regular supervision over party members in positions of leadership. We will intensify political inspection to identify problems and ensure that deterrence works. We will establish an oversight network that facilitates coordination in disciplinary inspections conducted at different levels. We deepen reforms of the national supervision system, conduct trials throughout the country, and establish supervisory commissions at the national, provincial, city, and county level, which shares office and work together with the public disciplinary inspection commission. This will ensure that supervision covers everyone in the public sector who exercise public power. A national supervision law will be formulated. Supervisory commission will be given responsibilities, powers, and means of investigations in accordance with the law. We will reform the audit management system and improve the statistical system. We will establish an authoritative, efficient oversight system with a complete coverage under the party's unified command, and integrate inter-party oversight with oversight by state organs, democratic oversight, judicial oversight, public oversight, oversight through public opinions. 8th, strengthening every dimension of our ability for governance. To lead a large socialist country of more than 1.3 billion people, our party must be both politically strong and highly competent. We should be good at learning. We should foster a strong atmosphere of learning and practicing in a party and build our party into a Marxist learning party. We should nurture a love of learning in our people. We should be good at exercising political leadership. We should have strategic perspectives, develop critical thinking, and dialogical approach to thinking. We should think in terms of rule of law and think about worst-case scenarios. We should formulate sound party alliance principles and policy resolutely implement them, ensuring that the party exercises overall leadership and coordinates work in all areas. We should be good reformers and pioneers. We should be enterprising, work creatively in light of accurate conditions, and adapt to apply information technology, including internet, in our work. We should be good at promoting sound development. We should effectively put into practice new development philosophy and continue to break new grounds for development. We should be good at exercising law-based governance. We'll act more quickly to put in place a system of party rules and regulations that cover all aspects of the party leadership and party building, and strengthen and improve party leadership over bodies of state power. We should be good at engaging with the people. We should develop new systems, mechanisms, ways, and means of the work. We will urge trade nations, Chinese Communist Youth League organizations, women's federations, and other people's organizations strengthen their political consciousness, become more advanced, and better represent the people to play their role as bridges linking the party with the people and to organize and motivate the people to follow the party. We should be good at implementing the policy. We should be open and frank, take effective measures to address real issues and seek good outcomes. We should be ready both to act resolutely and swiftly to make sustained efforts to tackle tough issues head-on. We should be good at managing risks. We will improve risk prevention and control management in all areas, skillfully handle various complex issues, and overcome all difficulties and obstacles that we meet on our way, and keep firm hold on the initiative of our work. Comrades, a great cause calls for a leadership, a strong party. As long as our party keeps itself competent and strong, always remain true to the people's aspiration and work in concert with the people, we can and will navigate the great ship bearing the great dream of the Chinese dream to conquer the waves and reach our destination. Comrades, the Chinese nation is a great nation, has been through hardships and adversity, but remain indomitable. The Chinese people are good people. They are industrious and brave. And they never pause in the pursuit of progress. The Communist Party of China is a great party, has courage to fight and the metal to win. The wheels of history roll on. The tides of the times are vast and mighty. History looks kindly on those who work with resolve, with drive and ambition, and with plenty of guts. It won't wait for hesitant, apathetic, and those shy of challenges. All of us in the party must work hard and live simply, guard against arrogance and impetuosity, and lose no time in progressing along the long march of the new era. We must conscientiously safeguard the solidarity and unity of the party, maintain the party's deep bond with the people, and strengthen the great unity of the Chinese people of all ethnic groups and the great unity of all the sons and daughters of the Chinese nations at home and abroad. We must unite all the forces that can be united and work as one to progress towards the brilliant future of national regeneration. A nation will prosper only when its young people thrive. A country will be full of hope and have a great tomorrow only when its younger generation have ideals, abilities, and a strong sense of responsibility. The Chinese dream is a dream about history, the present, and the future. It is a dream of our generation, but even more so, a dream of the younger generations. The Chinese dream of national rejuvenation will be realized ultimately through endeavors of young people, generation by generation. All of us in the party should care about the young people and set stage for them to excel. To all our young people, you should have firm ideals and convictions, aim high, and have your feet firmly on ground. You should ride the waves of your day, and in the course of realizing the Chinese dream, fulfill your youthful dreams, and write a vivid chapter in your tireless endeavor to serve the interests of the people. A just cause should be pursued for the common good. Rooted in a land of more than 9.6 million square kilometers, nourished by a nation's culture of more than 5,000 years, and backed by the invincible force of more than 1.3 billion people, we have an infinite vast stage of our era, a historical heritage of unmatched depths, and an incomparable resolve that enable us to forge ahead on the road of socialism with Chinese characteristics. We, the entire party, and the Chinese people of all ethnic groups, to rally closely around the Party Central Committee and hold high the banner of socialism with Chinese characteristics. We should keep on working with great determination to accomplish the three historical tasks of advancing modernization, realizing China's reunification, and preserving world peace and promoting common development. We should secure a decisive victory in finishing the building a moderately prosperous society in all aspects, striving for the great success of socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation, and see that our people realize the aspiration for a better life. Delegates, just now we heard the report of General Secretary Xi Jinping on the work of the 18th Congress. Please deliberate the report. Now the meeting ends.
And that is General Secretary Xi Jinping's report for the 18th CPC Central Committee. It's a wide-ranging speech. It covered many different areas, but there are some key things I want to mention. Of course, China's construction has entered a new era, and it has formulated the thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. And he mentioned that the contradiction at this new time is the people's pursuit for better life and unsustainable and inadequate growth of China. He also talked about ecological construction, how to clean the party construction and military construction, a wide-ranging topics. Here in the studio, I'm joined by Zhang Weiwei, the Dean of the China Center of Fudan University, and also Lauren Brahms. So, Mr. Zhang, what do you make of the key message? Of course, it's a message of conviction, confidence, and vision, but what is your takeaway from his speech?
I think it's an extremely impressive and important speech. It contains a lot of new ideas, strategies, concepts, which will be a landmark in Chinese CPC history. Mm-hmm. For instance, you mentioned this idea of the whole thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era. In the Chinese political narrative, the thought is a very important word. It's almost equivalent to ism of Marxism, Leninism, and Mao Zedong thought. Now we have thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics. So this is crucial, which means it's really a summary of Xi Jinping's many ideas. I think the report mentions 14 elements. And this will be important for the next stage of China development.
As you said, there are many elements of this new thought, but it takes place at a new time. What has changed about China that the CPC must come up with new strategies?
Because here a key word in the report is the new era, whether it's in terms of the environment, international environment, or in China's domestic situation. You mentioned this very importantly, the whole concept, the contradiction, principal contradiction, major contradiction, had been become the contradiction between people's exploration for a better life and inadequate and unbalanced development. If you compare the previous texts in the last conference, it's the contradiction between people's material, desire for better material, cultural life, and the backward productivity. So China has really moved into a new stage. It's a dynamic economy, its economic strength is enormous, but there are still unbalanced, inadequate development.
And Lawrence, do you think Mr. Xi have identified the problems correctly and come up with the right approach?
Well, first of all, it's talking about socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new age. And this is the emphasis, what's new, the new age. He ended his speech by prioritizing the role of the youth in the future. And what he's doing is he has to bring the party not just up to date, but he has to be able to project it into the future for needs which are going to be completely different than those of his predecessors had to face, or even our generation can envision. And in this,
but he did pay tribute to the predecessors in the beginning.
That was very interesting, because by taking that 1 minute of silence in the beginning, he put the predecessors, the founders of China, on a pedestal for history. But it's also in many ways, while honoring them, he's breaking and looking to the future. And this is really a clean slate, a new direction. For instance, almost 10% of his report was dedicated to ecological civilization, environmental issues, reducing carbon, new energy, and actually as China projects itself into the global arena, it's probably its greatest soft power will be renewable energy systems, a new technology that will drive this, not only for China, but for developing and underdeveloped countries that are part of the Belt and Road network. Moreover, it's not just about protecting the environment, it's about seeing environment, water conservation, the sustainability of the planet as the next economic driver for the future and driver for innovation. And that speaks directly to the youth, because their priorities are very different than their parents and their grandparents.
Indeed, a vision for the future. We'll talk about innovation later on, but this is a message. General Secretary Xi Jinping actually points out China has made inroads and achievements under the leadership of the party over the past years, especially in deepening reform. Take a listen.
We have taken moves across the board, achieved breakthroughs in many areas, and made deeper progress in reform. We have pursued reform in a more systematic, holistic, and coordinated way, increasing its coverage and depth. Thanks to the launch of over 1,500 reform measures, breakthroughs have been made in key areas, and the general framework for reform have been established in major fields.
So the CPC's vibrancy and legitimacy lies on its ability to reform itself and reinvent itself. And Mr. Xi's outlined the major accomplishments in reforms in economic, social, cultural, different areas. But what do you think is the undertone, the biggest undertone of his reform? What is headed?
Well, it's China and the world right now. This is the first time you've had a speech like this that is looking not only at the domestic and internal reforms of China, but also it's reaching out to the rest of the world. And again, the Belt and Road was right there in his speech. He talked about this initiative. This is also about security. It's about addressing violence and crisis at its root through economic empowerment. It's sharing the China solution, which is a very pragmatic approach to economic development, one that is involving empowering people through economics first, infrastructure, but then also looking at culture, heritage, and identity, which is so important, about localized diversification rather than monolithic globalization, and respecting both people and nations outside as well as China's own internal needs. And a big chunk of his report was addressing the agricultural question, the countryside, the existing pockets of distortion that are in the economy, the need to be able to invest into the rural areas and create really ecological cities that are smart, green, and blue, so people want to go back to their villages, their towns, and not have congestion in coastal cities, which has been a phenomenon of the past 2 decades.
What do you think is the major piece of reform over the past 5 years?
Well, actually, since the third plenary of the 18th Congress, it's about over 1,500 measures of reform, covering all dimensions. Of course, most prominent is obviously economic reform. And this whole idea we have to, rather than rely on monetary policies as most Western countries do, China said we try to break
We'll
new
talk about
paths.
reform later on. We have our reporter Zhou Yun, who is standing by, and she is joined by a delegate just wrap up the meeting at the opening session. Zhou Yun.
Hello there. Well, Zhou Yue, we just finished the opening session. So what do the delegates think of this long-awaited report? Now, standing beside me is Ms. Chen Wei. She's the professor at Beijing International Studies University and also the CPC delegate at this the National Congress of the CPC. So, Professor, thank you so much for joining us on CTN. So, just a quick question first is that you were there inside the venue of this opening session. You have listened to every word that has been delivered by the General Secretary of the CPC and also Chinese President Xi Jinping. So what is your understanding and also interpretation of this report?
Well, it's a great honor for me to attend the 19th National Congress of CPC. And I think it's I'm very lucky and very fortunate to witness and to be part of this historic event. And this morning, the report reviewed the works of CPC over the past 5 years, and also drew out some guidelines and policies in response to the call of the times. Very inspiring, very impressive. And from my point of view, I think that the report boosts our confidence in the path we have taken under the leadership of CPC. And over the past 5 years, people's lives have remarkably improved, and quality of environment is steadily improving. It's very impressive progress and achievement. So that's why we all convinced that despite the difficulties and challenges which need to be addressed in the future, the path we have taken, we have chosen, will eventually lead to the final victory.
Yeah, so it is a very bright image that we're now expecting. And also because now you're not only a CPC delegate, you're also a professor at the university, also a senior interpreter. So you're being this kind of acting, the role of a cultural ambassador to the world, telling the stories of China. So from that perspective, how can you contribute? Well, what is your input as the role that you usually to be to this Congress and also maybe in the future development?
Well, thank you for the question. Yes, I'm from Beijing International Studies University, an institution of higher education that features foreign studies. Currently, our university offers courses in more than 27 foreign languages.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, impressive. Especially, we put much emphasis on the languages used in the countries and regions along the Belt and Road routes. So that is also our strength in serving the Belt and Road Initiative. For example, such as Polish, Hungarian, Serbian, Romanian, those languages are...
So the countries want...
Yes, that's right. And according to the report this morning, China is opening wider and wider, and also deepening its engagement in the global economic governance. So as a delegate from University of Foreign Language Studies, I, on behalf of all my students and colleagues, I expect languages to play a bigger role in bridging cross-cultural communication and introducing Chinese culture worldwide. And yes, as you put it, we are ready to serve as a goodwill ambassador of China's voices.
So the delegate is ready, the students are ready, the college professors are ready, and we're ready to bring you more updates about this Congress. Back to the studio, Zhou Yue.
All right, thank you so much, Zhou Yun, for your reporting. And earlier in the broadcast, our reporter Yang Chengxi in Shanghai gathered a group of people, a focus group, to talk about their aspirations and expectations from the governance in China. So what they've come up with, have they come to some kind of agreement? Let's throw back to Yang Chengxi. Chengxi.
Hi, Zhou Yue. We in Shanghai studio, the discussion continue. Our focus group as well as our internet chat group has been following very closely, tuning in on the work report given by General Secretary Xi Jinping. Now, let's get some first impression. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining our discussion. You've heard the comprehensive and extensive work report. What are your immediate thoughts?
Well, what impressed me the most is the sentence mentioned in the report that China's major contradiction has become the people's increasing demand for better life and the imbalance and incomprehensive development today. So maybe I think some of you also share the point. This is important because it points out the major tasks for us to strive for in the future, and also recognize the achievement we have made before. So how to mitigate this contradiction? The report said we should activate the energy of all types of actors in society to develop our productivity. If we relate this to our daily life, we can see that more and more actors are engaged in the public service delivery, like social enterprises and social organizations, and they are helpful to for government to develop the capacity to meet the more diversified demands for the people. So I do expect a new type of state enterprise and a state social relationship can help to accelerate our government, our society, and economic growth and development in the future.
Yeah, I agree on that. But I'm also impressed by how President Xi, he not only realized all the problems and conflicts in our society, but he also holds very firm Chinese confidence, and he has such determination to solve all these problems. I think this is crucial because, after all, China is a developing country. We should not settle for what we have now, of course, but also we need to realize what we have got during the last 5 years. So I think we should keep going and keep confidence in our, let's say, road theory, system, and culture.
Yes, for me, the most touching point is Chinese leading role from a global perspective, especially for the sustainability in management for the general economic growth. So many companies in China has been devoted to bringing out innovative and renewable energy sectors so that they will make business sustainable, and also companies are encouraged to explore more in some social problems, for example, resource allocation, and also for solving some urban development related problems, for example, MOAC and OFO, and they come out to overseas market and they really amaze the world. The second point I want to make for sustainability is education development. As a student from the first China-US joint university, I feel really benefited from this education development strategy here. Also, from today's talk, I would expect there will be more collaborations between China and other countries in terms of academia, and I would expect more opportunities for young people.
Thank you. In Mr. Xi's speech, he has mentioned the contradiction of the demand of a better life and the problem of the insufficient and imbalanced development. As a young entrepreneur, my job is to deliver wine, deliver world-class wine to all around China. And we have seen that the major problem is to deliver wine to these rural areas. So Mr. Xi has mentioned two items. He has emphasized the further development of the rural-urban migration, and also the improvement of investments on the supply chain management. And I think these two items will change the improvements of innovative technology, such as fintech and digital market reforms will help us to better deliver our worldwide products and services in an efficient way. I'm really looking forward to see that.
Thank you. I think we should try our best to build up the community of shared future for mankind through the ways such as promoting the Belt and Road initiatives. For example, some of my friends work in the studio of Guan Shiping, Collaborating with China Institute. They have produced a very interesting short movie on the Belt and Road in Kazakhstan. They have invited around 20 country students and youngsters to make speeches in the hall where President Xi Jinping stated firstly the Belt and Road Initiative 4 years ago. That's really very cool, and we hope that there will be more researches, more business, and more communications in future on Belt and Road.
Okay, thank you again very much, everyone, for sharing your viewpoints and being here with us today. Now, Zoya, we did say that we put a survey in our internet chat group where people can choose their priority concerns. And now we have results with us today. Now, this is a multiple choice. People can choose from many topics, such as SOE reform, home prices, new leadership, Belt and Road Initiative. And as we can see, the highest one on the priority list has been healthcare reform, followed by an equal voting of education reform and environmental protection. These are also three key points mentioned in General Secretary Xi's work report just now, and these are 3 points that are very closely related to people's everyday lives. So as you can see, that the discussion here has been very passionate, enthusiastic, and there's many food for thoughts in the work report given by General Secretary Xi Jinping, and this will keep the focus group and every people around us to keep following the 19th CPC National Congress in the days to come. Now, this concludes our Shanghai focus group. Back to you in the Beijing studio.
That is indeed multifaceted thoughts on governance here in China. Thank you so much, Cheng Xi, and your panelists. And now we go live to Dr. Kuhn, who's now staying by outside the Great Hall of the People. Dr. Kuhn, you've heard the speech from President Xi, General Secretary Xi Jinping at the 18th CPC Central Committee to the 19th Congress. What is your major takeaway of this message?
First of all, the vision was one of grandeur, and the comprehensiveness of the categories was really remarkable. In each of the core areas of China, domestically, internationally, we heard specificity, very specific facts and direction, both of what has been achieved the last 5 years and what is looking forward. But the biggest takeaway is that our expectation that this conference is special because it is looking to mid-century was confirmed. And I think this is a remarkable thing because the President Xi used an interesting word, confluence, that in the 19th Party Congress and the term, the 5 years, will be the confluence of the moderately prosperous society, which is the first 100-goal, the 100th anniversary party in 2021, and the second, the 100th anniversary of the country in 2049, or mid-century. So this 19th Party Congress is a confluence of those two, the achievement of the first and looking forward to the second. So the policies and the structure that we see are looking to the far future. And what was new is that the second part, the next 30 years, was divided into two parts. One from 2020 to 2035, when China will build on the moderately prosperous society. And the second part, from 2035 to 2050, when China will develop into an advanced nation, which will be a global leader in all the categories of human importance, economics, governance, science and technology, culture. I think that's what we saw today, and it's really a remarkable vision.
Yes, indeed, a blueprint and roadmap with clarity. Thank you so much, Dr. Kuhn. And people are paying attention to the opening session of the CPC. Our reporter Cui Hao in northeast Shenyang is with an expert to talk about this. Cui Hao, how are people in Shenyang in northeast China, the old industrial base, reacting to what is happening in Beijing?
A lot of people watched this morning in front of television for President Xi Jinping's report. And to me, his work report, hails changes over the past 5 years as, quote, profound and fundamental. And B, he also points out that China still faces inadequacies and difficulties, especially problems like unbalanced development. And that is particularly relevant to the region of northeast China, where economic development is lagging behind most of the provinces. And for more insight on this, I earlier spoke to Liang Qidong, who is the deputy director of the Academy of Social Sciences in Liaoning Province. And he thinks Xi's report has set forth direction for northeast China.
报告当中提到了供给侧结构改革，大力发展实体经济，搞好国企改革，发展民营经济，特别提到了东北经济最新的专项性的问题。我感到了对东北性充满了信心。这几年，辽宁党中央政治领导下，我们深入贯彻新的发展理念，按照4个力咱们推进要求，我们着力。
requirement of the central government and continue to deepen reform and restructuring and innovations as well as improvement of well-being. And especially in the restoration of ecological system, so as to make sure the right path to the reformation. I believe that under the guidance of 19th Congress, we will continue our efforts.
So as Liang says, Northeast was one of the first regions in China to become industrialized. In fact, it has a very long history of heavy industry, but right now it is suffering the worst of the economic slowdown. And the key to the revival is through reform. And furthering reform is the key to revitalization. That's the message we got from the General Secretary Xi's work report this morning. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Huiyao, for your reporting from Northeast China. Just about half an hour ago, General Secretary of CPC Central Committee Xi Jinping delivered his report at the 19th National Congress of the CPC, and he stated goals and asked the party members to fulfill their missions at this critical moment as socialism with Chinese characteristics enters a new era. Our own Hou Na explains.
A new era. A strong voice. General Secretary Xi Jinping marks the significance of the meeting. He says China is at the decisive stage in building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and at a critical moment as socialism with Chinese characteristics has entered a new era. He looked back at what's been achieved during the past 5 years. He told party members never to forget why they started and to always aim high and look far. But Xi Jinping admits there are so many inadequacies and difficulties to face. Some acute problems caused by unbalanced and inadequate development await solutions, and the quality and effect of development are not what they should be. China's ability to innovate needs to be stronger. The real economy awaits improvement. And there's a long way to go in protecting the environment. Xi Jinping says China is at a new historic juncture in its development. He explains what socialism with Chinese characteristics enter a new era means.
This new area will be an area of building on past successes to further advance our cause and of continuing in a new historical context to strive for the success of socialism with Chinese characteristics. It will be an area of securing a decisive victory and building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and of moving on all-out efforts to build a great modern socialist country. It will be an area for the Chinese people of all ethnic groups to work together and work hard to create a better life for themselves and ultimately achieve common prosperity for everyone. It will be an area for all of us, the sons and daughters of the Chinese nation, to strive with one heart to realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. It will be an area that sees China moving closer to center stage and making greater contributions to mankind.
Xi Jinping says socialism with Chinese characteristics offers a new option for other countries and nations who want to speed up their development while preserving their independence. And it offers Chinese wisdom and a Chinese approach to solving problems facing mankind. He points out that what we now face is the contradiction between unbalanced and inadequate development and the people's ever-growing needs for a better life. Based on a comprehensive analysis of the international and domestic environments and conditions for China's development, the country has drawn up a two-stage development plan for the period from 2020 to the middle of the century. In the first stage, from 2020 to 2035, we will build on the foundation created by the moderately prosperous society with a further 15 years of hard work to see what socialist modernization is basically realized. In the second stage, from 2035 to the middle of the 21st century, we will, building on having basically achieved modernization, work hard for a further 15 years and develop China into a great modern socialist country that is prosperous, strong, democratic, culturally advanced, harmonious, and beautiful. China's economy is transitioning from a phase of rapid growth to a stage of high-quality development. This is a pivotal stage for transforming the growth model, improving the economic structure, and fostering new drivers of growth. We should endeavor to develop a market economy with more effective market mechanisms, dynamic micro-entities, and sound macro regulation. This will steadily strengthen the innovation capacity and competitiveness of China's economy. Especially, he stressed the importance of encouraging a new landscape of all dimensions of opening up.
We should pursue the Belt and Road Initiative as a priority, give equal emphasis to bringing in and going global, follow the principle of achieving shared growth through discussion and collaboration, and increase openness and cooperation in building innovation capacity.
The country will expand foreign trade, develop new models and new forms of trade, and turn China into a trader of quality. It will adopt policies to promote high-standard liberalization and facilitation of trade and investment. It will implement the system of pre-establishment national treatment plus a negative list across the board, significantly ease market access, further open the service sector, and protect the legitimate rights and interests of foreign investors. All businesses registered in China will be treated equally. In the people's well-being, Xi Jinping says the country should give priority to developing education and improve the quality of employment and raise incomes. He demands winning the battle against poverty.
We must ensure that by the year 2020, all rural residents living below the current poverty line will have been out of poverty, and poverty is eliminated in all poor counties and regions. Poverty alleviation should reach those who truly need it and deliver genuine outcomes.
Xi Jinping also hailed the importance of promoting green development. He says the country will step up efforts to establish a legal and policy framework that promotes green production and consumption and promote a sound economic structure that facilitates green, low-carbon, and circular development. He stressed the importance of reforming the environmental regulation system.
We will establish regulatory agencies to manage state-owned natural resource assets and monitor natural ecosystems and improve environmental management systems.
In foreign policy, Xi Jinping says China remains firm in pursuing an independent foreign policy of peace. The country endeavors to uphold international fairness and justice and oppose acts that impose one's will on others or interfere in the internal affairs of others, as well as the practice of the strong bullying the weak. China would never pursue development at the expense of other interests, nor would China ever give up its legitimate rights and interests.
No one should expect China to swallow anything that undermines its interests. China pursues a national defense policy that is in nature defensive. China's development does not pose a threat to any other country. No matter what stage of development it reaches, China will never seek hegemony or engage in expansion.
He stressed that political building is of fundamental importance to the party as it determines the direction and efficiency of party building. He urged to step up efforts to combat corruption and make an overwhelming victory in the fight against corruption.
Currently, the fight against corruption remains grave and complex. We must remain as firm as a rock in our resolve to build on the overwhelming momentum and secure a sweeping victory. We will continue to see that there are no no-go zones, no ground is left unturned, and no tolerance is shown for corruption.
To lead a large socialist country of more than 1.3 billion people, the party must be both politically strong and highly competent. Xi Jinping asked all party members to be good reformers and pioneers and lose no time in progressing along the long march of the new era.
The global political landscape has changed rapidly during the past 5 years. China has grasped its chances to transform its economy, eliminate corruption, and further lift the people at home from poverty. In this report, Xi Jinping reaffirmed his determination and commitment and offered China's solution to addressing global issues. On that, CGTN, Beijing.
And that is the walkthrough of the major points of General Secretary Xi Jinping at the just concluded first session of the 19th National Congress of CPC. I want to talk about two things. Of course, China is further opening up. Mr. Xi said China will, of course, continue to open up, but with new dimensions and new levels of development. What exactly does that mean?
Well, I just checked, this important report. Actually, he gave a lot of details. For instance, he said we should, further spread this idea of a negative list. We should also provide national treatment for foreign investors, including service sectors. And this whole idea of so-called, we try to explore the possibility of opening up this free trade ports. These are all, ideas with tremendous potentials.
We already have free trade zones in different cities. Is that something different on a new scale?
Yeah, that's why we have to, wait and see, because explore the possibility. So, which means it must be much larger in scale from my assumption. Yeah,
so if you are foreign investors, what is your estimate of getting business here in China?
I think what I tell a lot of foreign investors, it's not time to enter the dragon, it's time to follow the dragon. China is now not about bringing in foreign investment as much as it is also about going out. Outbound investment. So one aspect of the Belt and Road is infrastructure, but then that lays the groundwork for Chinese companies to go into all kinds of markets and areas where they have not been. That creates other opportunities for other foreign companies and countries where there's many areas where Chinese companies do not excel. In that elasticity in space, there's a lot of opportunity. On the financial front, it's not just about open ports and open trade zones. We have to look now at the renminbi exchange centers that are now evolving in many different parts of the world, which are now globalizing the yuan currency, which could make it the next reserve currency. That creates a whole different opportunity for finance, for Chinese financial institutions going out, but also for financial institutions working with China.
And also, it seems soft power-wise, Mr. Xi wants to make the rest of the world believe that the Chinese system works, and maybe there is something you can learn from us.
Actually, he has made a very important point. He said roughly these words. He said, for those countries who want to have a quick development, modernization, at the same time maintain their independence.
China's
also an option.
Maybe an option for all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Well, the tone is set, and the Chinese Communists will hit the road again in the coming week. There will be new leadership election. We'll keep a close watch with CGTN. And that's it for the special coverage of the opening session of the CPC's 19th National Congress. I'm Joe in Beijing. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.